my core is something that confuses the fuck out of me, to be honest. I've never quite known where it stands relative to the rest of my body. How strong is it? How weak is it? Is it weak? Is it strong? I don't fucking know, man. I've never really known, because there's certain things that I really struggle with, and then there's certain things that I find that I do really well, and feel like my core has a big part to play in that, especially in grappling. Like, I've always felt like my core has been the foundation for my ability to be extremely explosive as a grappler, and to allow me to connect my entire body and use it all in unison very well. Like, I've never struggled with that as a grappler, which makes me think, yeah, your core is in decent nick. But then I try certain things and certain strength exercises, like even just a simple L-sit, a hanging L-sit. And whilst today I did it after I'd done a few other things, so I was a little bit taxed. It's a struggle for me to sit in an L-sit and hold an L-sit, which makes me feel like my core's weak. But then on the flip side, that doesn't necessarily mean my core's weak. It might mean that my core in that movement, in that hold, isn't strong enough to hold up the weight of my legs being by far the heaviest part of my body. My legs is significant. Like, my legs definitely outweigh my upper body. Maybe that is part of the reason why I struggle in the L-sit, because things like planks, even though I don't do them, like holding a minute plank isn't difficult. I know a minute's not long, but it's not difficult for me. So, yeah, man, my core is a strange one, because like, depending on who you ask and depending on what you say to them, some people will be like, well, you deadlift well, you squat well. Yeah, you like, doesn't mean, so your core can't be weak. Your core's not weak. You do your compound lifts. And then at the same time, I'm there like, well, there's certain things that like I'm nowhere near being able to do. Like, take a flagpole, for example. I remember trying a regression for a flagpole a few weeks ago now, and I couldn't do it to save my life. Could not do it to save my life. So my side-to-side plane of movement, I think that's the sagittal plane, if I'm not mistaken, is definitely kind of weak because of my inability to even do like a flagpole regression, and my inability to kick high. The outside of my leg and the side of my torso definitely plays a part in my inability to bring my legs high and hold my kicks. And again, having heavy legs doesn't help, but it's not an excuse. If anything, it should be used as a strength, because it means that once I develop the ability to do those things, it means I'll be super strong in those movements, because the weight I am using as resistance, i.e. my legs, are heavy. So it's a weird one, because I always feel like my core is super tight and super engaged and super braced whenever I do any compound lifts, and I never feel like it lets me down in any compound lifts. When I'm grappling, I never feel like it lets me down. As a footballer, I always felt I was always very, very solid. I was always one of the strongest people on the pitch when it came to duels, because I understood how to use my body and use my core. So it's really confusing for me, and it's really frustrating as well a little bit. Like today, I set out to just do a load of core work, and then did the bits and pieces that I really wanted to do, and then did the bits and pieces that I felt like I should do, and was very quickly humbled. Again, I haven't done a load of core work in a long time now. It's been at least 45 days, 46 days. I think this is video 46. And I haven't done any significant volume of core work since way before starting these videos, about a week, maybe 2 weeks before starting these videos. However, prior to that, I was doing what I thought was a lot of core work, but wasn't in reality. I was doing a lot of leg raises. I remember there was a month where I was clocking between 750 and 1,000 leg raises, hanging leg raises a week. I was going ham on leg raises. And recently, having thought about working the core quite a lot, I realized now that the hanging leg raises, they're not as much of a core workout as I first thought. There is a lot of abs involved in the hanging leg raises, which kind of made me pissed at the amount of work and the amount of effort like I put into all of that, realizing that it wasn't even what I was trying to achieve. I was trying to develop a stronger core, and I wasted a loads of time probably balancing about 50-50 between working my abs and working my core. Now, me personally, like, I don't really give a fuck about abs. I don't give a fuck about training abs and developing abs and da-da-da-da. I just want a rock solid core that will hold me in good stead for the rest of my life. That's all I give a shit about. Abs are just a bonus. Abs are just something like, it's just a cherry on top of the cake that you get for looking after yourself, you know what I mean? It's easy for me to say because like throughout my whole life I feel like I've had abs, because when I was younger I was skinny, so I had skinny abs. But yeah, man, so definitely gonna have to ponder a lot more on the whole core situation and the elements of my core that I want to work on, and figure out where I am actually weak, and try and find and conjure up some tests, do some research and see if I can conjure up some tests to really determine what on my core is weak, what on my core is strong, what movements are strong, what movements are weak, so on and so forth. The core. See you tomorrow.